You're listening to the feel-good flavor of Afternoon Delight Radio Show. Your big bro on radio, Clay Mercer, here with you, and more of your requests are on the way. But, of course, it's the fourth Wednesday of the month. Man, I tell you, these months are just flying by. But it's time for Conversations with the Chancellor, and I have the privilege of having a conversation with the one and only Chancellor of Elizabeth City State University, Dr. Karrie Dixon. Chancellor Dixon, welcome to your show.
Hi, Clay. I'm glad to be back and happy to share some great information with the listeners.
Wonderful information we're going to get into. And, of course, we always have every show is packed with good information. But I went onto the website to get us prepared for today's show, and I was scrolling through the website, and I noticed something called Viking Compass. So I want you to give us some information about this. Part of me, I actually thought it was the return of the student newspaper, and I started to get excited, but then I realized it was not the newspaper, but it was still exciting to see what it entailed. So let's talk about Viking Compass and what it presents to the public.
Yes, so Viking Compass is a web page that we launched, and pretty much a campaign for our Viking community to help navigate everyone through the changes we're experiencing, and then also preparing everyone for return to campus in the fall semester. So the website will host an ample amount of information from safety and health guidelines to employees, and making sure that parents and students understand how we plan to keep campus safe. Also, how we plan to create a healthy campus environment and what to expect for the fall semester. This information, as you know, with COVID-19 is changing rapidly. And so anything that we learn, we want to be able to communicate out to our campus community, all information regarding any new policies, guidelines, and other continuing issues that may be arising with the spread of COVID. And so what we're really focused on is keeping our campus community informed so that we can minimize any spread, and that everyone can help each other by holding each other accountable and making sure that we are practicing good health and safety actions, and that we're keeping each other safe and our well-being at the forefront of what we're trying to create within our environment as we open up and have students and faculty and staff return to campus in the fall.
And listeners, you can see the Viking Compass online now at ECSU.edu. And not only does it talk about the safety of our returning students, it also provides a plan to keep our faculty and staff safe. And a meeting with ECSU employees was held this past Monday addressing some of what is included on the website. Aside from those safety measures, what are some of the additional resources that have been and or will be provided to the staff and faculty to help them navigate through these uncertain times?
So one other thing in addition to Viking Compass, the launch of that webpage, we held a town hall meeting on Monday night with faculty and staff. And so I facilitated that town hall with the help of Provost Bear Ward, Vice Chancellor Alan Goodson, and Chief Human Resource Officer Paula Bowe. And we talked to the faculty and staff about what to expect. We shared our plans on how we plan to create the safest possible environment for our employees, students, and our visitors as we return back to campus in the fall. But, first and foremost, our priorities, we want to make sure that we are providing a quality education for our students, but keeping in mind that we're doing that in a different type of scenario now, dealing with COVID-19, and having our health and safety of our employees, students, and our guests on campus is definitely our priorities right now. And so we wanted to make sure that we provided guidelines for our faculty and staff, let them know what we're doing in regards to enhanced cleaning and disinfecting on campuses, how we plan to put in place social distancing, and also the adjustments to the academic calendar. And so this was a way for us to talk to our faculty and staff and also hear from them on specific questions. And it really went well. We had a number of people participating by sending in their questions ahead of the town hall, but then also we offered an opportunity for people to ask questions during the town hall. And so it went off very well because we were able to really cover so much about what the fall may look like and really emphasize the importance of the protocols we'll put in place around hand washing, staying at home if you're feeling sick, social distancing, wearing face masks, face coverings will be required, and then also just holding each other accountable for doing the right thing to fight COVID-19.
Conversations with the Chancellor. Yours truly, Clay Mercer, here with ECSU Chancellor Karrie Dixon. And Chancellor Dixon, your experience with this pandemic has been a little bit different than others due to the fact that you are the Chancellor and Chief Executive Officer, making difficult decisions to make sure the university continues to prosper. It's an enormous responsibility. What have you seen or experienced during this pandemic that gives you hope that ECSU will continue to prosper?
Well, I tell you, Clay, that's a great question, because I tell you, if anything tests your leadership, it is this right here.
That's right.
Having to deal with a pandemic, because no one has dealt with it before, so it's not like there's a manual out there or a book of what to do. And so, as I explained to the faculty and staff during the town hall, we are making decisions based on the information we have right then and there, so current information. Now, the reality of that is information changes daily, weekly, and it just depends on the numbers and how this COVID-19 continues to spread. Things change very quickly, so it's a fast-paced type of response to making sure that people stay healthy and stay safe. And so for me, being in the midst of all of this has really taught me a lot about being a strong leader and being able to make decisions necessary to keep our campus community safe. And so, I'm grateful to have a wonderful team around me. I'm grateful to have wonderful faculty and staff, our students, our alumni, our community members. Everyone is really pitched in to really show how important our response to this COVID-19 is, but also how important it is that we hold each other accountable and build a culture of expectation that we will keep each other safe and healthy. And one thing about the ECSU community, we have Viking Pride, and our Viking Pride resilience is a part of that Viking Pride. So there are things that, we have definitely been able to address, and we're trying not to miss a beat at all in addressing a lot of what we're dealing with right now with this pandemic. But the majority of our team is still working remotely. We will not go back to fully being on campus until the governor gives us permission to do so across the state, since we're still in phase 2 of the governor's executive order. Phase 2 continues to promote the teleworking model. So once we are able to move back into normal business operations, then we will maintain that. But as of now, we're still in phase 2. And so I have hope that, everyone will just continue to work together. We know the realities of this pandemic, that no one has faced it, that this is something we're all learning from, and we're all trying to, do the right thing that's necessary to make sure that our campus community is safe. But the last few months have been very challenging, and I feel, just overwhelmingly grateful that our employees, their dedication, faculty, staff, to being so prompt and effective and providing an effective response to the COVID-19 pandemic. I mean, we only had a week to get ready for this in regards to having our students return after spring break. And what happened a week later was that they did not return. And so it does cause some frustration for some people, but I just ask everyone to be patient and to understand that this is ever changing. Our plan is in place, but our plan is also a living document, because as things change and as we learn new information, we're going to have to make the necessary changes. And so, the message there is just, have hope and know that we will get back to some type of normalcy soon. But until we get there, there's going to be a lot of change, and we're going to have to be able to adjust to those changes as we continue to promote a healthy, safe environment for our campus community.
That's right. Again, you're listening to Conversations with the Chancellor. And on this show, we love to receive emails if you have questions or comments for the Chancellor. She loves taking those questions. And I have one here that we received from an ECSU employee who will remain anonymous. And the employee wants to know if the pandemic will have an impact on the university's strategic plan. The plan usually has about a 5-year length, and I am sure that no one saw COVID-19 coming while they were crafting this plan. So will there be any altering to our strategic plan in the future?
Well, that's a great question, and I thank whoever asked that question because we've been talking a lot about our strategic plan with our Board of Trustees Chair, Jan King Robinson, and our trustee board members. And so we are planning to continue with our launch of our strategic plan titled Forging Our Future, and it will begin on July 1st. So we're still looking at the 5-year plan starting July 1st of this year, July 2020. And while the overall goals and objectives have not been impacted, we have had to assess our new 1-year priorities. So looking at our 1-year priorities due to the pandemic, we've had to look at that to see what can we do, what can't we do. Our 1-year priorities were not necessarily based on additional resources to be identified. So there were some things that we could get done that we've already been working on. So we're assessing kind of where we are and what the impact has been on those 1 year, the first year rather, to be clear, the first year priorities we have within the strategic plan. So COVID-19 and the lack of the state budget, of course, has impacted our priorities for this year. But once we are able to identify through our assessment those things that can be implemented, we'll do so. And we will begin launching the website for the strategic plan and including within that launch, identifying so that the public can see our first year priorities so our Viking community will know what we're focused on and what we plan to accomplish in year 1 of the strategic plan.
It was a good question. Thank you for answering that, Chancellor. And if you as a listener has a question for Chancellor Dixon, you can send us an email to WRVS-FM@gmail.com. It's Conversations with the Chancellor here on WRVS 89.9. And, ECSU is a proud constituent institution of the University of North Carolina. And this past Friday, the UNC Board of Governors announced Peter Hans as the next leader of the 17 institution system effective August 1st. Now, Chancellor, you have some history with Mr. Hans. Tell us more about the incoming president and how his experience will help him with his new duties.
So, this was a long process, as many of the listeners know, in identifying a president for the UNC system after former President Margaret Spellings left the position. And I have to give credit to Dr. Bill Roper in the interim, being the interim president, because he definitely provided great leadership. And I say we were very blessed that we were able to have a interim president who was formerly the executive director of the CDC, especially right now during this pandemic. So I thank Bill publicly. I thanked him privately just to say thank you for your leadership during this pandemic. But we were also very, very excited and pleased to hear the naming of the President-elect. As you mentioned, last Friday, the UNC Board of Governors elected Peter Hans as the next president of the UNC system. And I'm excited because I was able to work with Peter when he was on the Board of Governors, and then later he was elected chair of the Board of Governors. And so I was able to work with him while during my tenure at the UNC system office. And, I spent 10 years there. And so Peter has always been a very fair person, a good person, a great leader that people respected. And one thing that I've noticed, even in some of the news clippings that I've read recently, is that he has been a friend to people on both sides of the aisle as it relates to his relationship with the General Assembly. And so that positions the university well, I believe. And with his experience from being on the UNC System Board of Governors, being on the Community College Board of Governors, being the chair of the UNC System Board of Governors, and then going on to be the president of the Community College System. It definitely gives us a win-win. And, you know, one thing that I remember when I worked at the UNC System office, we had a strong focus on collaborating more with the community colleges across the state. And I led a lot of that work. And so to see someone who has experience from both the senior institution side as well as the community college system side is just a wonderful thing for our leadership in higher education in the state. And Peter, you know, I've been telling people at ECSU that one thing that really surprised me, but also, you know, I guess I shouldn't have been surprised because I just know that's what kind of person Peter is. When he was elected president of the community college system, he actually came to ECSU with Margaret Spellings to visit with me and visit the campus and look around. And it was a wonderful surprise to have him on our campus and to show him what we're doing at ECSU. And it was a wonderful day. And so to have someone come to your campus after being elected president of the community college system was a big deal. And so that just shows the type of person he is and the type of a leader he's going to be. So I'm looking forward to his leadership. I know my relationship with ECSU and COA in the Elizabeth City area. We're, you know, working very closely together, President Jack Bagwell and myself. And so I'm excited about this. And I know Jack is excited, even though, you know, we didn't want to take the president from the community college system office. But, you know, I think he's going to do some really good things and really support the collaboration and the pipeline from the community college to the senior institutions across the state. And so we're excited about that. And I'm excited about our partnership with COA and with all the other community colleges within our service area and beyond. And I've heard a lot from a few of those presidents, and they're excited for us as well. So it's a good thing for the UNC system, and I'm looking forward to working with President Hans.
It's definitely a brand new era for the UNC system, and I'm looking forward to seeing what the future holds. And you're listening to Afternoon Delight Radio Show, conversations with the Chancellor, and it feels really, really good to be able to end today's show with some good news. And it was recently announced that ECSU was a recipient of a $1 million grant from NC Policy Collaboratory at UNC Chapel Hill. How will this grant assist the university's ongoing efforts?
Well, as you mentioned, you know, there are some ongoing efforts, and this is something our faculty have already really been proactive in. And so I know Dr. Kevin Copiet, he is one who the nation turns to when they're in need of, you know, any help around any FEMA-related disasters and other things. You know, they call Dr. Copiet to be deployed and aid victims and potential victims of this virus. He's already been well involved in that. He was just recently deployed to Alabama and then to Georgia. So I'm very proud of our faculty that we have who are already proactively in this space. The work that's being done by UNC Chapel Hill, the $1 million grant, we're actually looking at Dr. Khalid Rawat to lead that area of help that's needed within our 21 county service area. And one other thing that Dr. Rawat is doing is that he has been, and I know some of you probably read about this, he's been working with people across the state, and he's using the 3D printers, and they are being used to help produce the personal protective equipment, the PPEs that's needed to protect people from the spread of the COVID-19. And so he's also looking at prototype face shields. So these are things that our amazing faculty are already doing to help out with this. But in regards to the $1 million that was raised, Dr. Rawat and our provost and some other faculty members put together a proposal. And this was a proposal to the North Carolina Policy Collaboratory at UNC Chapel Hill. And the UNC Board of Governors actually brought this opportunity to the HMSI campuses, all the historical Black colleges and universities across the UNC system, as well as UNC Pembroke as a minority serving institution, and then UNC Asheville as one of the smaller institutions as well. And so we were able to put together a proposal that focused on how we plan to enhance capacity and infrastructure to support COVID-19 response and recovery for racial and ethnic minority, social vulnerability, and rural communities in northeastern North Carolina. So what we plan to do, Dr. Rawat and his team will develop a public awareness campaign to support the increased awareness and adoption of public health practices while working in cooperation with the regional public health organizations. And in doing so, guess what? We'll be able to use our drones. And this is something that really aligns with what makes ECSU so unique,
yes,
is that we'll be able to use our drones in transporting essential equipment such as PPE and also critical medical supplies to vulnerable populations across our region. So this is huge. I am so excited about this opportunity. I think we're going to really do some great things in our 21 county service area, and our drone deliveries, can be used to deliver healthcare gear and coronavirus test samples to clinics, and in the future, carry time-critical supplies such as blood and organs. And so we're excited about this $1 million, and you're going to see some great things come out of what we're going to implement in using these funds to combat the COVID-19. Also, Dr. Anthony Emekulum received a $131,840 grant from the North Carolina Healthcare Foundation. And the program was titled Through and Beyond COVID-19. And this program targeted African-American residents in the 21 county region in northeastern North Carolina for educational programs about the virus. So when I say ECSU, we are in the midst of all of this, doing all we can to keep our campus community safe, our region safe, 21 counties safe. We're trying to do all we can to help all of our community members who have supported us so much over the years, and we are giving back, and we're making sure we're going after these funds so we can make a difference. So, we're excited about this, Clay. This is good thing. These are great things for ECSU to really make a difference in northeastern North Carolina.
It really is a wonderful opportunity to serve our community and to serve our region. And if you want to learn more about this story, you can find it on the ECSU Newsroom online at newsroom.ecsu.edu. Another great edition of Conversations with the Chancellor coming to an end here, but usually at the end, I turn my microphone off and leave it to Chancellor Dixon to give a few final remarks. So Chancellor Dixon, take it away.
Well, I just want to say, thank you all for your continued support. We are in unprecedented times right now, and there's so much uncertainty that's occurring within our state, across our country, across the nation in regards to COVID-19. But the best thing for us to do is to look out for each other and to hold ourselves accountable and hold each other accountable for keeping us safe. And if that means wearing your mask every day, do that to keep yourself safe, to keep your family safe, to keep your neighbors safe. It's about us really coming together and helping each other during this pandemic. And so when we think about the students coming back, our faculty and staff in the fall, it's going to take the entire community because everyone's going to be around each other all the time, and we want to keep everyone safe. And so I told the faculty and staff on Monday night at the town hall meeting that it's about communication, talking to each other, really working this out and coming together as a whole to make sure that we're all trying to do the right thing. And we will have another town hall meeting on Thursday of this week. And the town hall meeting on Thursday is for students and their parents. And we'll be providing similar information as we did on Monday with the students and parents, because we do want to build an expectation, build a culture of health and well-being through this pandemic. And we want to be as transparent as we can in sharing information as we get it. And so we just ask that the community continue to embrace ECSU as we will continue to embrace the community. And we have to do this together. And that's the only way we're going to be able to be successful. And so I just thank everyone who has supported ECSU, who is supporting ECSU now, and who plans to support ECSU. We thank you all, and we want you to continue to be a part of this great legacy of Viking pride. So thank you so much for listening, and I look forward to our next segment where I'm able to provide even more information. So thank you, Clay.
Another informative edition of Conversations with the Chancellor. You can catch up on this and past shows on the WRVS 89.9 YouTube channel. Make sure you all stay tuned. I have more information on how you can donate your unwanted vehicle. It's all coming up on Afternoon Delight Radio Show.